They try to drown me. I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now I'm gonna shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talking Jit.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we have a very special guest, my boy Fouad, a seasoned MMA fighter, sometimes training partner to me. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Say hi to the crowd. And we decided to get together and just do another fight prediction for UFC 296. It's a stacked card. There's a lot of fights to talk about. And who better to give us insight than somebody who knows mixed martial arts, such as my boy here. So
Appreciate you. Pleasure to be here, Acai.
Thank you, brother.
Let's
Thank
get
you.
cranking, bro. I'm excited. UFC 296. Let's go.
I honestly did not know how stacked it was until I pulled it up today and just started looking at the prelims. As you and I were just talking about, the early prelims are stacked, and it's gonna be a long night. And I got a fucking Christmas dinner this night too, so I'm gonna be sitting at the Christmas dinner watching on my phone.
Yeah, sneaking away. You're gonna be the one yelling knockout, knockout at that party, dude.
Oh.
Randy Brown, first one on this card. I don't know. I'm calling him TKO over this dude. Muslim Salikov. Usually the Russian dudes, they always favor to win. Lately, but I don't think so. I think Randy Brown, they got him as the favorite in this one. I think that's correct. I think he's gonna go in and piece this dude up.
Randy Brown's the favorite.
Yeah, he's the favorite, 250.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Minus 250.
Wow. What makes you think he's gonna win?
His fighting style, bro. He's long, rangy, picks people apart with the punches and kicks. Really well rounded. I think if this guy Muslim Salikov doesn't have much for him on the takedowns and on the ground, I think he's gonna get pieced up. Yeah, if he's not able to get Randy down and hold him down, I think that's gonna be primarily most of his style. I think that Randy's gonna be able to pick him apart, maybe get an easy unanimous decision or a TKO.
78-inch reach compared to a 70-inch reach. 6'3" compared to 5'11", so he's punching down a little bit.
Sure.
Punching down, what is that, 4 inches? 5? That's not too bad. That dude's 39 years old. There's some old guys on this card too.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, and he's 19-4 compared to 17-5. Yeah, on paper it looks like a pretty close fight, but I'm gonna buy into your hype on Randy Brown because I don't know too much about him, but you seem
okay.
You seem sure.
Good. Yeah, watch him, bro. I think he's gonna impress you.
Do you know anything about the Martin Boudet and Shamil? I'm not even gonna try. I'm sorry.
Gaziev. I don't know so much about these guys, but Martin Boudet is ranked 15. He's from Slovakia. You don't see many fighters out of Slovakia, so he must be special if he's ranked number 15. It's a heavyweight fight. So, again, I'm not sure what kind of fighter he is, but these Eastern European guys who are from that kind of region, Baltic region, they tend to be really good grapplers. So, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe look for his grappling ability. And this guy, Shamil Gaziev, they don't even have a photo of him online. So, I don't know much about him at all.
He's 11-0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then if you look at the stats on them, they're almost identical. You got 6'4", 6'4", 32 years old, 33 years old, 77-inch reach, 78.5-inch reach, both orthodox. And it says the Shamil has a pretty high significant strike accuracy, 87%. So if you're talking about loaded heavyweights, maybe I don't know, it might come down to who can land that banger, and that's pretty high accuracy, I would say, 87.5%.
I agree. If I'm gonna go for a pick on that one, I might go Shamil Gaziev.
And the favorite is your boy Martin Boudet. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Shamil on that.
I gotta go with paper, and them being heavyweights, and I'm gonna just guess that with those numbers, that guy's got the advantage. Is Shamil. I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the next fight, Andre Fili and Lucas Almeida. Who do you got?
I go Fili. I believe, don't quote me, but I believe he had a loss in his last run out, and he was kind of on a catching his wind, and he was fighting like a vet should fight, I believe, and he was performing really well. And even his last fight, he performed really well. He got hurt, and he rallied back and fought really well. Um, I think he's gonna come out with something to prove. I think he wants to show that he's still a force and a name that should be known in this division, and that he wants to still contend and fight and be in contention for the top 10 at least. Um, Lucas Almeida, I don't know so much about him. He's a Brazilian fighter. Typically, Brazilian fighters going to be pretty good on the ground. They'll have some solid Muay Thai, but they're very traditional Muay Thai usually if they're fighting Brazilian Muay Thai. So I believe it's a tough fight, but I think that Andre Fili, being an alpha male member, he fights with Uriah Faber's team and represents them. I think that their style of movement and incorporating wrestling
Yes.
into their style, I think he's going to have an advantage in the movement aspect, and I think he'll beat Lucas Almeida.
I really like that style too, man, because like what Alpha Male did is like you said it perfectly. They incorporated striking into like single legs into like wrestling, so you can't necessarily be comfortable at any point. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it says Lucas Almeida. It actually has him down as a striker. So
Okay. He's probably got some good Muay Thai.
Yeah. So they don't have anything with at least on what I'm looking at, they don't have anything about grappling on here. So Andre Fili, I don't know if I ever really see him go for takedowns a lot. Do you?
He'll grab a single leg. He'll shoot in. He likes to play. He has his own kind of flair on the striking, um, his own kind of swag on it, and I don't know. I like him in this fight. He's fought good strikers in the past, good Muay Thai fighters. They have some pretty good strikers out of that gym. Song Yadong is a good striker that he trains with very regularly out of that gym.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to see anything out of Lucas Almeida that he hasn't seen before. I think he's going to be a tough fight, but I think he's going to figure him out in round two. I think we see either a TKO or just domination throughout the rounds.
I'm going to take Fili on this one as well.
Yeah.
Next up, I've got Cody Durden versus. Why do I have to do this? Is that Tahir Ulanbekov? I'm gonna butcher this, bro. I'm gonna
Yeah,
these dudes
I
off.
think Tagir Ulanbekov.
Yeah. So I don't know either of these guys. I think I've seen they're 125ers, 5'7", 125ers, southpaw. Everything looks almost identical, even down to the significant strike. Tahir has 54%. Cody Durden has 55% significant strikes accuracy. I mean, dude, right down the middle, these guys look like they're almost identical.
Yeah.
Have you researched this one at all?
Ranked 13th, ranked 15th.
Yeah, they're like neck and neck on this one.
I think that's a pick-me fight. The odds are pretty even. As for the night, it'll probably get even more even. Tyler Durden's probably gonna come out as a banger. Tagir is probably gonna come out and look to grapple very, very early on. I'm gonna go Tagir Ulanbekov, but it's I mean either or. But just based on what I know about Russian fighters, I've trained with a good amount of them when I was in Tiger Muay Thai, and I kind of got a really good feel of their style. And I think that if Cody Durden doesn't bring something to the table that Tagir Ulanbekov isn't expecting, then I think it's going to be a pretty straightforward smash fest.
What would you say? What would you say, like, training with them? What would you, like, say you've noticed about them? I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
They make it no secret that they look to grapple is what I really learned. They know what they want to do. They go in, they try and implement that game plan, and there's not much hiding it. So, like you're going in there, you might be a good striker and you're throwing these feints. They don't really care. They're gonna eat two shots to get where they want to get, get in the position, hold your arm, get a waterfall grip, take you down, get in the triangle your leg so they're controlling one leg, and then look to smash. They all want to get in a position of control and smash on
Yeah.
top, never on their back. If you look at the Russian fighters, they never fight from their back. These are not guys who want to be throwing up triangles or arm bars. Um, if they roll to their back, it's for maybe 3 seconds to secure a finish in that position. If they're not, they will probably let go of a submission to get back to their feet and then shoot under again for a takedown or get a body lock for a takedown. Um, they're very, very heavy on looking for those takedowns in different ways all the time, is what I noticed. Because in that MMA class at Tiger, it was a lot of pro fighters, and a lot of the crews that were teaching Muay Thai are in that class as well. So I got to watch and see how those guys do. These are elite grapplers versus elite of the elite strikers who have had 300 Muay Thai fights. So I got to see the vast extremities and how they collided.
Hmm.
And yeah, they would make no secret. They would know. All right, this guy's a striker. I might have to eat a couple kicks to get that leg, to get close to him, to get control of those hips, and then secure a position of control on the ground on top
It's
and
crazy.
hold it. Yeah,
Crazy, you know what they're going for, and you still can't
you
even stop
can't.
it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like some of them feel they're so used to doing that over and over and over and over that their body has like adapted to it. Their S grips are almost unbreakable. Their gable grips, they're tight, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, in a way that's just like you're like, oh, this is different.
So yeah, I wish we got more of them in the jiu-jitsu rooms. That'd be fun.
Yeah. For
Maybe when I switch over to training MMA again, I'll get a taste of that
Well,
strength.
now, let me say this. What I noticed as well, coming off a 2-week camp with Eddie Bravo at 10th Planet, is those guys, what I found to be their weakness was very crafty jujitsu. Not really traditional style jujitsu, but
Mm.
crafty jujitsu. Positions like the honey hole, positions like 50-50, positions like the truck, were positions that I was having success with.
So you're saying
Um,
it's got a chance.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I performed pretty well over there.
Good.
I got my ass kicked, but I definitely kicked ass too. And it was really about learning from me. So I was going back after every training session and learning from these guys and analyzing like what styles is best for this, because my primary sport was MMA. So, but yeah, I think that crafty jujitsu, leg locks, interesting style positions like even rubber guard positions were really throwing them off a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I got something to go off of now. All right, let's roll into
Oh,
Alonzo Menfield and Dustin Jacoby. I already know who I'm taking in this one.
bangers. Who you taking?
I'm taking Dustin Jacoby.
Man,
I feel like you're
I
going the other
want
way.
I want Dustin Jacoby, and he's the favorite. And I've been a fan of Dustin Jacoby forever, and I was gonna pick him. Um, I just remember in my mind the last fight Alonzo Meningfield had, and I was like, I bet against him, and he really impressed me. Uh, I'm gonna go Alonzo Menfield
I'm going
by
Dustin. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. I'm gonna say by second round.
Ooh, you're getting very
KO.
technical. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I've seen Dustin Jacoby has that kind of weird, like, freestylish, like, kind of style to him. Almost
Sure.
like he thinks on the fly. And I've just seen him drop people without loading punches.
Yeah.
Like, I just know he could throw a short straight and rock people. And I kind of think that he's athletic enough to get it done. And I don't know. That's just where my heart's leaning.
I agree. And a thing I really like about Dustin Jacoby is he's a good kicker for the light heavyweight division. Not
Yeah.
meaning that he throws fancy kicks, but he throws effective kicks.
Effective ones. Yeah. Yes. And I think I feel like Alonzo might be planting hard and throwing heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm just
That's
thinking
gonna
that
leave that
Dustin
front leg for the
Jacoby
low kick.
might catch him with like a 1-2 and rock him, and that's just where my brain lies.
Okay. Okay.
But you see it.
I feel it the other way. I feel Alonzo is gonna step in with a hard 1-2 and catch Jacoby as he's
Ooh.
throwing a low kick.
Well, Time will tell, right, my friend?
I
we
hope
might
it
have to
doesn't
throw
happen.
some gentlemen's bets on here.
I know. Yeah.
All right, now we're getting to the meat of it, bro. That was just the early prelims.
Okay.
That's a good card in itself. That early prelim card is as good as some of those UFC fight nights, like the free ones.
Sure.
I think. Now these ones, Casey O'Neill, to start off the prelims. Casey O'Neill, Ariana Lipski.
Yep. Aussie versus the lady from Brazil.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Ariana Lipski. I know Casey O'Neill's talented, but I've been a fan of Ariana Lipski since she came in. She's obviously cute. She's obviously got the look to become a superstar. I think she's building the skill, and I think Casey O'Neill is going to be a great test to like break into that. I don't know if she'll be top 10 or if she wins, but maybe break into that echelon. They can give her some push, you know.
Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah.
You're seeing this as like the momentum for some stardom.
Yeah, it's like a setup fight for her. Whereas Casey's ranked number 12, she's not yet in the top 10. She's almost that gatekeeper. Now this will be a fight for Casey O'Neill to solidify her skill and say, "Hey, I belong here. You know, I'm ready to fight number 8, number 7. I'm ready to work my way back up." I think that's this kind of fight where they're setting the stage, you know, and almost like paving the landscape for the women's flyweight division here.
Gotcha. Yeah. It has Casey O'Neill down as mixed martial artist and Ariana as a striker. It's weird. It's like a mixed martial arts artist. Aren't they all mixed martial artists? Am I overthinking this?
I would hope that you have a background in MMA if you're getting into MMA and to UFC, especially if you're fighting there. I know that the Australian fighters are usually very talented and well rounded. So maybe she just wants to put that statement and that stamp on herself that I can fight anywhere and I'm not a specific fighter. I think that would be a pretty good explanation of why she would say MMA. Not
Gotcha.
just say like I'm better at this, you can train for that.
Like she's
Pretty
well
much,
rounded.
yeah. No matter what you train for, you're getting an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
So that kind of puts a stamp on that. Ariana Lipski, she's a striker, but she has good jujitsu too. I feel like when they say that about people, it's by the fight and whatever the fighter wants to be at that moment because everybody is well rounded, like you said. Like you have to know MMA to get into this organization.
For
You have
sure.
to do it well.
And yeah, and just to be like, she's a mixed martial artist. Like, all right, well, it's like calling a boxer or a striker. But whatever, I'm cool with it. Whatever you want to do, ESPN or whoever's got this title. Yeah, I think I don't know who to pick on that one.
I'm going Ariana Lipski.
You going Ariana?
Yes.
I'm gonna trust you on this one. Go Ariana.
Okay, that's an upset. It's gonna be an upset if she wins. When she wins.
Yeah, but I was just looking at her record, and obviously Casey O'Neill is 9-1. Oh, it took me to her Facebook for some reason, but I was looking at her record.
Get out of those DMs, Acai.
Yeah, right. You're about to get me in trouble. Get out of the DMs. She won her last 2, both by decision, lost by a KO, won by a decision. So she hasn't really finished anyone in her past 5 fights.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's like you said about the Aussies. It seems like they're hard to put away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go Casey O'Neill. Sorry.
Okay.
I can't trust you anymore. I looked at the data. I can't trust
the
you
data
anymore.
says otherwise. I'm all about the spirit, bro.
I
And
thought
belief.
she had some submissions like recently or like some bangers. I'm like, oh, you know what? But I must have been looking at the wrong record, or I am right now. But looking at her previous 5 fights, I think Casey O'Neill finishes her. But we'll see. Hopefully, I am wrong. And bro, this fight has like a lot of old people, like 35 and up, which is crazy how in this sport that's not that old.
They almost say 31 to 36 is your prime.
Isn't that crazy?
For men, yeah. It's crazy. I feel great. I'm 32 right now. I feel great. Other than a few minor nagging injuries and like my face, obviously. I feel great.
if you guys want to hear about that, tune into Fouad's podcast on here. Talks all about your face injury. That's insane.
Hey, episode 29. Let's go.
Yeah, he just posted it today. Appreciate that. Dude, I don't know why. I'm a huge Cody Garbrandt fan.
Yeah.
And
he's flashy, bro. Good looking guy. Fast fight style, crowd pleaser.
I just like, and some people probably hate it, but I like his like, what do you call it? Not his grit, but like his like, just his attitude. I don't know. Like I ain't gonna take shit from anybody. Nah.
Okay. His
just
bravado.
Like, yeah, just like he, like the whole beef with him and TJ. Like I was eating that thing. I was eating that beef up, bro. I was like watching that whole thing go down and like watching him on the Ultimate Fighter, even before all that shit triggered. Remember on the Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah.
When Conor was calling TJ a snake.
Told it like it was.
Yeah, and Cody like had TJ's back because I was his boy. Like he kind of kept it real. And he just hopped up without hesitating to Conor and he's like, I'll fight you. And remember there's like that whole fucking, drama episode where they're all about to brawl and shit. And Cody was the one who like jumped off the thing to go after Conor. Then he found out
I feel like
Conor
he has that in him. He has like little man syndrome, I feel, Cody Garbrandt. He's
Yeah,
always like the second shit goes down, he wants to show how tough he is.
You're right. It's probably fucking little man syndrome, but I like it. Just
hey, it's entertaining as shit. I don't hate it either, but I mean, start backing it up again, bro. Come on.
I know. I get super disappointed when he loses too, because I'm like I said, I buy into the hype, and then like he'll have a fight, and I'm like, it just looks like he's not there. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like he went from dancing in front of Dominic Cruz and just dodging all of his punches, and then dropping that guy with like one of the fastest duck lefts we've ever seen, to like he won't even wrestle or like fight the takedowns. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost like he'll accept takedowns and shit.
I have a theory on it, and I think it's a commonly shared theory, and it's just that he fought TJ Dillashaw twice and lost both of them. One of them viciously.
I think he should have won the first one. I think was kind of BS in my opinion, but
you think so?
I don't know. I mean, it was legit. It was legit. I'm probably a little bit biased, but like, yeah.
So regardless of the decision, right? They still beat the shit out of each other, and that damage takes something from you every time, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you fight a dude like TJ Dillashaw, regardless, like win or lose, you're gonna take that damage. And then again, he fought and he lost. Who did he lose to? He fought again and lost. Rob Font. He fought Rob Font. Rob Font messed him up. Kai Kara France messed him up. Those, I feel like they take so much from you. You're not the same fighter. Not just so much from your confidence, but from your essence, your actual being. So it's hard, But
do you think he's mentally beat, or do you think he's just not as talented as like the hype is gone? Like he's flashes like a flash in the pan,
I don't know if I would say mentally beat, but I think that he's the type of guy that when he's not in the spotlight or in the limelight like that, he craves it or misses it. So he's like I don't know. He wants to get back there so bad, but he does just, and in my opinion, he never did have the skill, to be at that echelon. I think he caught Dominic Cruz the right way at the right time. And I don't want to take anything away from Cody because that was an incredible fight and he fought it perfectly. And I don't know. I just think that after that, you fight guys like TJ Dillashaw. You fight guys like Pedro Munoz. If you get knocked out by Pedro Munoz, who's not even a good striker, something's wrong with you.
Yeah. Maybe put that pressure on himself to be like flashy rather than like get the job done. The discipline maybe.
Yeah, maybe he is in his own head. I don't know. And here's the deal too is, and I know this from experience, and here's something that no one really ever takes into consideration when these fights are. They're looking at the fights and looking at the skill and they're looking at the height and the reach. They're looking at the coaches. They're looking at the team. I know from experience that one thing, like you could get into an argument with your girlfriend or you can get into an argument with a family member, something affects you internally, and that'll mess your whole train. You can go from the best fighter in the world to a shitbag real quick, just
Yeah.
from an emotional baggage.
Yeah. You're not wrong
So
about that.
if you're carrying things, no one knows what you're carrying. He could have been for a couple fights carrying some baggage, some emotional things that he never let out for anyone. And I don't know if you can overcome those things. Maybe you can come back and be a great fighter, but it's just no one knows. So, but then again, he's fighting a guy in Brian Kelleher, who is a good fighter, but Bam Bam's been kind of streaky. You know, he loses a lot. So this is going to be a good test. If Cody Garbrandt can get by Brian Kelleher, then I think it's going to show that he's back heading in the right direction. He's coming off a win against Trevin Jones, which is good. So
Mhm.
that'll be a 2-fight win for Cody. Um, he's not ranked anymore. He's
No.
not. So
He's the
I think
second fight on a prelim. That's what's crazy.
yeah, he needs to show something big. I think a big KO, a big knee. I don't just think a decision win over Brian Kelleher is going to be enough for people to be like, "Oh, I'm a Cody Garbrandt fan again." I think even with a decision win over Brian Kelleher, Garbrandt just stays as like a name that we know, but not a name that we ever feel will be champion again.
Gotcha. Yeah, plus that's a tough ass division. So who are you taking?
I take Cody.
Cody. He's the
Mhm.
heavy favorite. Pretty big favorite.
Don't get me wrong; he has a lot of skill, and he is a good wrestler and great scrambler. He has to get it done early and put the pressure on early. He has to impose his will early and make Brian second guess himself. He has to really gain the respect early.
Yeah, that's true. He's gonna have to be in his face, but that guy's gonna bang, so he's gotta be using
Oh,
some fucking head movement for sure on that fight.
that's right.
All right, next we got Irene Aldana and Carol Rosa.
Yes.
Carol. Who are you taking?
This one, Irene Aldana for me.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you been following her career?
Yeah.
She's a beast. I love her boxing. She's so tough. She
Very good
fights
boxing.
well. She comes out of the corner after every round, ready to fight hard, fresh.
Good chin.
Cardio is always good. Good chin. I'm a Irene Aldana fan.
She's
Carosa,
also her last fight was Amanda Nunes for the belt, right?
Irene Aldana.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
It
What's
says
this?
what? Let me see. June 10th fight history. Amanda Nunes. Yep. Yep.
Oh wow, yeah.
Decision loss to Amanda Nunes. This shows you mentally, like, you lose to the champion, and this is where you find the people who quit because they got to the championship fight and didn't make it, or you realize this person's just going to keep trying. You're going to see if she's got it deep down in her. I feel like this is going to prove if she comes out ready to make a championship run again. This is now the time before she's not ranked anymore.
Yeah. I feel like if some people are thinking that this is the kind of the fight that you're gonna take a break or go get food at or this or that, I would not. Irene Aldana is entertaining to watch.
Dude, her
Carol
boxing is very
Rosa.
good.
I don't know much about Carol Rosa, but I know Irene Aldana. She fights well, and her last fight was for the title, so she's definitely top of the division, top skill. It's gonna be a quality match, I believe.
Yeah, I just love her boxing. So technical. I'm going with Irene Aldana.
Agreed.
This one I've got pretty easy, but I want to hear what you think.
Okay.
Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear what you say too. I'm I like Josh Emmett and I like Bryce Mitchell. They're both good fighters. Josh Emmett obviously having some tough times as of late,
Yeah.
but has been showing for like the better part of his career that he's a top fighter and belongs fighting top fighters. He's also a Team Alpha Male product.
I didn't know
Used
he
to.
was there.
Oh yeah, yep. He's there. He's been there for a long, long time, just beating the crap out of everybody they feed him. And he fought a friend of mine, Calvin Cater, who I thought Calvin was going to beat him because Calvin, I've seen him fight. I've been in the training room with him, and he's a monster. And
Oh, that's
Josh
your boy?
Emmett, yeah, Calvin, yeah.
I like
He
him.
started me out. I fought for his promotion to start my career. He has his own promotion, Combat Zone. He's a great guy too. But Josh Emmett beat him. It was a battle, but Josh Emmett really surprised me in that fight. You could really see his heart and his willingness to bang to get what he wants. Bryce Mitchell, also a great fighter. Very good jiu-jitsu, has some twister wins, had a stumbling stone in his career when he lost to Ilia Topuria.
Yeah. He
I
beat Edson Barboza.
He beat Edson Barboza, which is saying so much.
Andre Fili.
Andre Fili, yeah. These are all top guys. Bryce Mitchell is definitely one to watch. I would not discredit his skill for his loss to Ilia Topuria because I think Ilia Topuria is the best fighter in the division. I think that he could possibly beat Alex Volkanovski when they do face off. I probably will pick Ilia Topuria in that fight. Josh Emmett also lost to Ilia Topuria. Yeah, I know, right?
And Yair.
And Yair Rodriguez. He's coming off back-to-back losses.
But he hasn't lost to no chumps.
No, but he's only been fighting top guys. I think before that,
tough dudes to fight, man. Those are.
Yeah, and before that, he had a ton of wins. I think the only guy he lost to was like Jeremy Stevens, maybe 4 or 5 fights before that, or 6 fights before that. But he's been winning for a long time. So with that being said, all right, let's break this one down because this one deserves it. This one really deserves it. This is going to be possibly one of the best fights on the night. Josh Emmett has great wrestling and wrestling defense.
Yes.
I don't think that Bryce Mitchell is going to be able to take Josh Emmett to the ground. Okay. I think that Josh Emmett is too good of a scrambler and too good of a defensive wrestler to allow Bryce Mitchell to control him on the ground. He will be moving. He will not be stationary and allow him to solidify position. Bryce Mitchell is very successful when he does solidify position, work his jiu-jitsu, work to a position where he can create leg entanglements or get to the back for his twister position, or even he has other good submissions as well. His striking is not great. I don't love Bryce Mitchell's striking. I think there's a lot of things that he does technically that I wouldn't recommend to do to my students. So with that being said, I think that Josh Emmett is going to be able to weather the storm and come out with a decision victory over Bryce Mitchell.
So here's how I look at
rambling, bro. I'm sorry if I'm
No.
This stuff is I love this stuff.
But this is the good info. This is why I want to do these predictions with people who know the sport and other martial artists and stuff. If I can sit here and ramble all day. I mean, people who pay attention to me, they know I have an MMA background, but I've been focusing mostly on jiu-jitsu for the past 7 years, right? Sure. So they think I might be looking at this as like a jiu-jitsu aspect and kind of forget because of the brand that, like, you know, I know I'm a mixed martial artist. I see it from all different angles. Been a huge fan forever. But you have done fights. You've had professional fights. I mean, you're opening up your own martial arts school. You know, we all know, like, good and, you know, professional fighters. You're the right person to put on here. And that's why I brought you on here. Now I'm rambling. Just to let you know it's okay.
I appreciate you, brother.
I think Bryce Mitchell is going to have to hold Josh Emmett against the cage and work like that, because I don't think he'll want Josh Emmett to have the middle of the cage. I don't think he'll want Josh Emmett to be able to throw. He has really good hooks, and he has some pretty good uppercuts. I see Bryce Mitchell wanting to hold Josh Emmett against the cage to drain him and to keep himself safe from getting combos, like the really good combos, because I don't think his striking is as good as Josh Emmett's. I don't think he'll be able to get him down. I think Bryce Mitchell is going to have to end up dirty boxing him. And Bryce Mitchell's tough, dude. I think it's going to be Josh Emmett winning, though. I think he's going to be working a lot of like underhooks and turns and getting Bryce Mitchell off of him from closing the distance and probably throwing some combos on the way out. I don't see any other strategy for Bryce Mitchell. I don't think he'll be able to win with jabs and teep kicks. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think you had a very good point where Bryce Mitchell, can probably only see success if he's able to press him against the cage and then eventually get him down to the ground that way and just pretty much not let him be out in the open. But if
Yes.
you look at Josh Emmett's fights, he moves so laterally all the time in a bouncy manner.
Yeah.
And then what he does that I actually really like is he'll bounce from one direction to another direction into a strike. And it gets his opponent to, instead of cut off the cage, they follow him and they start like chasing him around.
Hmm.
And he finds a good moment when they're chasing and when their foot position is out of position, and he'll jump into it like a leaping step through hook.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna call it on this. I think that's how we're gonna see him either knock him out or down and finish him that way with like a moving laterally and then step through and land a big overhand.
I'm gonna write all of our predictions down. We could see how good we are at this. But I kind of see it similar. Yes. All right, dude. Here we go.
Oh,
This is the
possibly
actual,
not.
the
The most
actual.
highly anticipated fight of the night, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, just
Apart
because it
from the
dude,
main event.
just because this guy's to me being a douche, but it's working. I hate how today's society, bro, being a douche works for you. Like, dude. Before we get into this, like, just a real quick excerpt. Have you watched Chael Sonnen's like old like shit talking?
Oh yeah.
He doesn't even cuss, but it was so
No.
funny and so
Yeah.
entertaining. And it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it was like rude and whatever, but dude, he was like the OG. And then Connor came along and got just like fucking out of control and took the cake. And I
Yeah.
think people like Jake Paul and all them just started taking notes like, man, the louder I am and the stupidest shit I say, the more attention I get, the more clicks I get, the more interactions I get. And I'm like, dude, I think this guy, Ian Gary, is taking plays out of that playbook, but I just don't think he's as cool as he thinks he is. Tell me if you're with me on this, bro. Like, I just feel like I got like Will Smith respect for him as the story's unfolding. And
Dude, yeah, no, I agree. I think that like Chael was the goat heel. Then you had Connor who kind of pushed the boundaries and pushed the limits, and people were like, "Oh, he can push beyond the limits, but still keep it classy." And then you had these guys like Jake Paul, the guy, what's his name, Dylan Dennis,
yeah,
and they tried to copy
oh,
this, but
they're
they
bad at
left
it.
out that element of class, and it's all just trashy now.
And
And I think that
they're
Ian
pandering to like
Gary,
13-year-olds. It's like they're bad at it. It's like 13
yeah,
year olds are like going, oh
it's
my
a
gosh,
younger,
he's crazy.
yeah. And Ian Gary is trying to mimic Connor's. He says he's not, but he obviously is
Dude,
trying
he's
to mimic.
quoting him word for word on shit sometimes.
Yeah, literally, and he says he's not, but he is. And I just think that's a recipe for success that he sees, and he's trying to just use it as his building blocks.
Yes.
He's still early in his career. I think he's 13-0, is he?
Yep.
Yeah,
13 and
he's
0.
13-0, so he's still really early in his career. So I think he's gonna, once we see him evolve into a more mature fighter, someone who's been around, someone who's had the cameras on him for a while, we'll start to see more of his what he really is, rather than what he needs to become this household name.
To-
But but hold up. With that being said, that all depends on him beating Vicente Luque,
yeah.
which is an incredibly tough task. Vicente Luque is so good, and he's beaten the top guys in this division. He's beaten
Michael
some of the
Chiesa,
best.
Tyron
Yeah,
Woodley, RDA.
he's yeah, he beat RDA. Or just saying that alone. Granted, he's a welterweight. Or welterweight. RDA was like a natural lightweight slash welterweight. He had trouble with like the top guys, like Bilal Muhammad and Jeff Neal. He lost to those guys, but beating a former champ in Tyron Woodley, that's saying something. Now, if you go look, just a testament to Randy Brown when he fought Vicente Luque, they had a battle. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to go watch a really good fight, go back and watch that fight. But anyways, um, this is going to be a tough test. Vicente Luque, as of late, if you look at his last fight versus Rafael dos Anjos, um, he really implemented a game plan that was strategic and specific to his opponent, and he didn't fight as characteristic as he usually fights, being reckless and standing there in the pocket and throwing wide looping shots and kind of just taking shots and hitting shots, because he's a guy who will take a lot of damage and still be there in your face.
Yeah.
Against RDA, he really took him down and implemented his wrestling and showed his black belt level skills in jiu-jitsu against a guy who smashed everybody but Khabib on the ground in RDA.
Yeah.
So that's a huge testament to his growth as a fighter. He's a guy who gets better every fight.
And he's got
Now,
a shit ton of fights.
he's got almost double, or maybe a little bit more than double the amount of fights as Ian Gary. I believe he has 29 wins.
He's 22-9-1.
22-9-1. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, he's got
yeah.
almost twice as many wins as Ian Gary.
Yeah.
That's
Against top level guys. If you look, who has
Yes.
Ian Gary fought? The most notable guy he's fought
Neil Magny.
is Neil Magny, and Neil Magny is not great, in my opinion. Now, Neil Magny is tall, he's long. This is going to be another fight of a guy who's 6'3" versus a guy who's 5'11" punching down.
Mm-hmm.
It might be difficult for Ian in that sense. But in Ian's last fight, when he was fighting Neil Magny, he was throwing such snap at the end of his punches in the length that you could tell they hurt so bad. So I'd be curious to see how those affect a guy like Vicente Luque, who's just absolutely so hard to put away. If he can really create some damage and show that his shots are stinging Vicente Luque, I'm gonna probably start hopping on that bandwagon and start appreciating his skill more. But I see a lot of holes in Ian Gary's game.
Yeah.
One that I'll point out that I think could be a huge factor in this fight, that I think Vicente Luque, if he's not seeing it, if his coaches are not seeing it, then they've got to go back to the drawing board, because it's a glaring, blatant hole that will expose him at some point. He will need to fix it at some point. He has tremendous like calf kicks that he's throwing, and he was hurting Neil Magny with them. He does not move his body or his head off the center line when he's throwing kicks or
Nope.
when he's striking. Neil Magny started to have success in that fight when he was popping the jab straight, and he was popping Ian's head back.
I was gonna say the same thing. He's probably used to sparring shorter people, so they can't reach his face, so he feels safe.
Sure.
I'm just speculating, but dude, actually, Vicente Luque, he has the reach advantage, 75.5 inches. That's crazy. So he's got longer arms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you look at Ian Gary and Neil Magny are the same height, right? They're both 6'3". Neil Magny had like an 80-inch reach, where Ian Gary had a 75-inch reach.
Mm.
So he has short arms for a tall guy, which is not great for him.
I wanna say, I think honestly, and this could just be me getting in the drama, but hey, that's what we're here for. I think the best thing that could happen to Ian Gary is he loses, it humbles him, and he comes back with like some better character from the loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more humble. Yeah.
Or he might lose and double down, and then people are just like not sick of him. But like, I think if he wins, it's only going to kind of escalate how, much of an agitator he is.
Well, get him more money for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know who I take in this one. Who do you take?
I'm going Vicente Luque.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think and here's another aspect of it. Vicente Luque is a guy who's been around forever. He's a very good Thai boxer. He like started as a striker pretty much. Has a black belt in jiu-jitsu, trained with the Black Zillions, that whole squad when they were around.
Oh, like Kamaru Usman and shit.
Yeah, he got those rounds in with top guys, middleweights, even light heavyweights. I'm sure he trained with and did well with. He's a big guy.
He looks strong as shit.
Ian
Like
Gary,
a little tank.
from what I saw against Neil Magny, he did well like with the striking. When Neil Magny was on his back trying to get him to come forward, Ian Gary wanted nothing of it. He backed up. When he did attack, he threw these weird shots standing, tried to hit his face from a weird angle, leaving himself very exposed to things. Just things that I I see as someone who's been in the sport a long time is just things that like it's almost like things that an amateur would do. Um, I think that if Vicente Luque gets a hold of him, he's going to expose huge holes in his grappling game, and he could submit him probably at any point that he wants.
Right.
I, I
I feel the same way. I feel Vicente Luque, but for some freaking reason, I'm seeing how Ian Gary's negative 400, and it's got me like questioning, like what do people, what am I missing? You know what I mean?
a lot of people throw money around carelessly in life, you know.
Yeah,
So
and I
it's
guess
not just in betting. So I think that's a lot of people falling into that hype. He's a talker. He's like Conor McGregor. I mean, there's a sparring video that went around of
yeah.
him and Conor McGregor, and he looked like he got the better of Conor McGregor.
Oh shit. Well, you said something about Conor McGregor, and then it like pulled a fast one on us.
Yeah, it must be. It must be his magical leprechaun powers coming in. I said that there was a sparring video of Ian Machado Gary and Conor McGregor going head to head in the gym, and it looked like that Ian Gary got the better of him. So I think a lot of people are seeing these things, seeing the media. The media creates a narrative sometimes.
For sure.
There's no media on Vicente Luque. I guarantee hardly anyone even knows Vicente Luque. You know, he's a Brazilian fighter. He's not so popular here in America. If you're a diehard fan, I think that these lines would be even crazier if the diehards didn't know that Vicente Luque was an absolute savage.
Yeah. Well, I got a big question for you, dude.
What's that?
Does Paddy Pimblett beat Tony Ferguson?
Ooh,
39-year-old Ferguson.
That is a big question. 39-year-old Tony Ferguson coming off 6 losses. Tony Ferguson,
Bro, but he just finished the whole boot camp with what's his face, David Goggins.
he did.
Did you see the videos of him like puking on the treadmill and shit? It's crazy.
Completed Hell Week. First athlete to complete Hell Week with David Goggins. That's a feat in itself.
So what does that tell you? Does that just tell you that like it's not him mentally, it's maybe just him physically?
Well, we've known since the beginning that Tony Ferguson was a cardio freak.
Yeah.
Eddie Bravo has talked about it on Joe Rogan's podcast, saying that he was lapping flyweights in the cardio training, staying there later than everyone, doing way more miles, runs, killing everything cardio wise. We've seen his training videos, super crazy, kicking bags and wood. He's a savage. He's also going back to my point on what I said earlier is every fight takes something from you, and he's been fighting the best of the best, the absolute best of the best for a very long time. I think he had 8 fights without losing, 8 fight winning streak, and he
Walking
didn't
forward
get
the
his
whole
share.
time.
Yeah, he just never had got his credit though, and when you're fighting the top guys and taking that kind of damage in those fights, he's winning, but he's taking that damage. That takes bits off your body, off your soul, off your spirit every time. Not only the fight, but the fight camp. So he's been through it. But with that being said, people are discrediting him. But you look at that resume, all those guys that he's fought have either been former champion, they've been they've been champion, they've been savages. Just his losses, Justin Gaethje. He fought for the title, what, twice? Charles Oliveira, former champion. Benil Dariush just fought for the title. Michael Chandler fought for the title.
Right.
Lost a couple of times. Nate Diaz, absolute savage. Bobby Green, unbelievable savage. Yeah, he just got knocked out, but he's very good.
Yeah.
And that was a very close fight. Paddy Pimblett, on the other hand, he has a lot of experience as Tony Ferguson does. Like, people don't realize that he's new to the UFC, so they're like, "Oh, he's new and this and that." But he has been fighting for a long time. He has just as many fights as Tony Ferguson.
Damn, you just educate him. You just described me. I was like, does Tony Ferguson's like top of the level class carry him through this, or is this like is he done?
That's what I'm saying. People say like, "Oh man, he's had all these fights and he's been around this long." Paddy Pimblett has had just as many.
Yeah,
he really has. But here's the difference: Paddy Pimblett has been fighting overseas in these other organizations. I believe it's Cage Warriors or something. And he's demonstrated good skill, but against what kind of opponents? Look at Tony Ferguson's resume and compare that to Paddy Pimblett's resume. The best guy that Paddy Pimblett fought was Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon's a good fighter. He's a beast. He's a Henzo Gracie brown belt under John Danaher.
Oh shit! Fight
Yeah,
me.
he's a beast. He trains with what's his name? The coach at Longo, the boxing coach there, Chris Weidman's boxing coach. I can't remember his name. But anyways, he trains there. I man, I don't know. I forgot what I was saying, but Paddy Pimblett, Jared Gordon, but Paddy Pimblett, I think lost that fight. If you go back and look, it was very controversial. Now everybody sees now we're months and months past it. You just see it on paper, and you're like, oh, Paddy beat him. If you go back to that fight, he got destroyed. He was fighting with his chin up, getting tagged, getting pressed against the fence. He was losing.
Yeah. A lot of people think he lost that last fight.
100%. And he didn't fight well. And he said it in his interview. He said, oh, that was not my best performance. I didn't fight well. I can show you guys so much more. And he's been saying that since he came into the UFC. I've been watching his fights very carefully and analyzing his skill. I'm not impressed in the slightest. He's supposed to have really good jiu-jitsu, but I never see him get himself into positions where he can use his jiu-jitsu. He gets himself pressed against the fence and tries flying triangles and he has a whizzer with these wide legs and he's trying to get people. He tries an Uchimata, and I mean that's not going to work against these top guys. It was working against those guys in the other organizations, but I mean guys like Jared Gordon, guys like the guy who twerks, I can't remember his name, but he beat him narrowly, narrowly beat that guy. I think that Tony Ferguson's going to have way too much experience, way too much skill, way too much grit and heart, and combine that with the training camp coming off with David Goggins. I think he's going to smash Paddy Pimblett.
If he loses to Paddy Pimblett, it's gonna be done for a while.
Yeah. I think if he loses to Paddy Pimblett, Dana White will announce that he's retiring and not allow him another fight. But I see Tony Ferguson's point. He's like, I'm fighting the absolute best of the world. Yes, I lost to them 6 times, but if you give me like the guy who's mediocre, I'm gonna smash him every time. So I still have a place here, but people just don't like to see that, that much damage being taken. I would agree that he should retire after it, and I would agree that he should retire if he wins as well.
Who's the favorite? Paddy Pimblett's favorite. Wow.
Heavy favorite. It's because it's like the Ian Geary thing. They see the hype. They see that Paddy Pimblett is sponsored by Barstool. They see that he has such a following, and he's a talker. He gets on the mic, he talks.
He's marketable.
Super marketable. So, well, that's what people see. That's where they put their money.
So you're taking Tony?
I take Tony for sure.
Oh, man. I don't know. I keep wanting to take Tony, but then I just for some reason see him having a glass jaw and getting starched. But
oh no, it's very possible. But get this: is Paddy Pimblett has his chin right out there too. So if the battle of the glass jaws, Tony Ferguson's tough.
That's very true. Yeah, I got it. I'm going with Paddy's gonna starch him.
I don't ballsy prediction.
Very ballsy, but you gotta throw one out there. He's just very marketable,
and I feel like bandwagon. Okay, I'll say.
Yeah, I'm on the bandwagon.
Going against the legend.
And dude, I'm not gonna live it. Here's the risk, bro. If Tony Ferguson wins, no one's gonna let me fucking get past that.
Say, bro, you have on Paddy's dick.
Here's the biggest favorite of the fight of the whole card I've seen right now is I can't even say his name. Shavkat. That's it. Yes. Versus Wonder Boy.
Yeah. That's a great fight.
650 favorite. That's crazy.
You think it's rightful?
That guy's a fucking animal, dude.
Yeah. Undefeated.
He's very confusing to look at.
Why is that?
Because he's got like a Russian name. He's got that like Russian stoicism, but he's looks like he's Asian.
So people from Kazakhstan, they have that like an Asian look to them. Really far Eastern European, Russian, Siberian people have like an Asian influence to them. They're so close to Asia over there.
And he's more pale than Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But dude's an animal.
He absolutely is.
Dude, he's 17-0. Wonder Boy is 17-6. I mean, I just feel like that guy's gonna. He hasn't shown any reason to think he's gonna lose.
Bro, that's the Wonder Boy, though.
I know.
Look at his spinning kicks. Look at his in and out movement. Look at his karate style.
So I know
he's gonna kick him in the face and then say, "Hey, bro, I'm sorry."
I see where you stand.
Do you?
Speaking
I don't know.
Speaking of that, dude, like you said, like he's gonna kick him and say he's sorry. I remember like one of the guys on my team back in the day. He had like one of his first pro fights against like a good wrestler, like a D1 wrestler. I'm gonna say at least D1. The dude took him down, smushed him into the cage. You know how that feels, like where you're just like kind of got the guy loaded on top of you, and he's just punching you through any gap you give him.
Sure.
And I remember my buddy got hit a couple times and just gave out the old, like, you know what I mean? And the guy like stopped punching my boy and said, "Are you okay?" And my boy said it confused him so much, and he like looked up at the guy and said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And the guy's like, "Okay, go." And went back to it. But he said it just confused him so much that like this, like the guy like stopped punching him to ask him if he was okay because he was making noises.
That's hilarious. Hey, props to him for the sportsmanship.
Yeah, great sportsmanship.
That's credit. No one needs to get hurt unnecessarily.
So who are you taking on that one?
In this fight with Shavkat and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's representing America. He's got his American kickboxing style. He could pretty much outpoint anybody on any given day. He's just that kind of guy. He's so skilled, been around for so long. But Shavkat is a monster. He's got supreme skill in the wrestling. He's got supreme skill in the striking. Not in the way that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has it, but he does have it nonetheless in a different way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Shavkat Rakhmonov by decision.
Okay.
If you look at their careers, so Shavkat Rakhmonov only lost 3 times in his amateur career and then went to become a pro, and he's had 17 fights, no losses. A good amount of finishes through submission and knockout. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has had some highlight reel finishes, has had some good and bad moments in the cage, but if you look at his losses, they haven't been to like they've been some pretty bad losses. He lost to a guy in Anthony Pettis who is a lightweight champion.
That's what I'm saying.
He got knocked out. He lost to Tyron Woodley. Couldn't beat Tyron Woodley. He drew him and then he lost to
that
him.
Was one of the best fights though. The first one that they fought.
It was good, but
that's a really good fight.
A guy, for sure. But a guy like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, when I'm looking at that fight, I look at his body and I look at Tyron Woodley's body. I think that Tyron Woodley's a dangerous guy, but I think that with his skill, 50 fights undefeated in kickboxing, he should have been able to move around that cage and just touch, bang, bang, bang.
True.
He just doesn't carry the power that's necessary for that division to be a force that people can be scared of.
That's why I don't think he'll stop this guy from coming forward.
I agree. I think no matter what he throws at him, he could probably stop his momentum, but he won't stop his will.
Yes.
And that's a big difference. You can stop someone's momentum from coming forward and actually create distance, but if they have that want to keep coming forward and fuck you up, and you don't stop them or make them respect that with pain, they're gonna fuck you up. They're gonna do exactly that, and I think that's what's gonna happen. Is we're gonna see a beat down of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson from this guy. Maybe not initially. Round 1, he'll really stay on his horse and start to move because he does do that. As round 2 comes, you'll notice that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson doesn't move as much, and he starts to really sink into his punches. But I think that Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to get a hold of him, probably through a body lock, get on top, and just smash City.
I see it the same way. I think he's gonna figure out how to get Wonder Boy to with his bouncing guard. You know how he bounces on his feet. I feel like he's gonna get him to circle the outside, close the distance, maybe even work on grabbing the legs. I could see that guy grabbing a leg and just being like, "All right, mine."
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think that Wonder Boy is going to have the power for him to respect. He's a big boy too, Shavkat.
Yeah.
He's not like Jorge Masvidal. If you look at the guys that really Wonder Boy beat, he beat Masvidal. He lost to Pettis. He beat um Darren Till, which I thought that Darren Till won that fight. That was controversial. So he didn't have. He beat Jake Ellenberger. He beat these guys, Donald Cerrone. But I just don't. I just don't see him beating a guy like Shavkat.
All right, and then we got another last 2 fights. All right, 125 pounders. These guys have power for 125.
Yeah, this is a killer fight.
Alexander Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. I feel like Brandon's got good power for his size. I think he could definitely clip Pantoja, but Pantoja's just so good everywhere. I don't know.
So Royval has been impressive in his last couple fights. I don't want to spoiler alert. This is a rematch. Pantoja won the first one.
Yeah.
He finished him, and although Royval is tough, he's much less experienced than Alexander Pantoja. Pantoja has really shown some grit and some determination to beat some of the best guys in the world in this division. And if you look, I know MMA math doesn't really add up, but if you look, Brandon Royval lost to Brandon Moreno. And Alexander Pantoja beat Brandon Moreno twice. Brandon Moreno is the former champion.
Right.
Brandon Moreno beat him. Pantoja beat him earlier in their career, and then he came back. He beat Royval on the way, and then he beat Brandon Moreno again for the belt, split decision.
Pretty good fight.
Awesome fight. Pantoja looked like a zombie in that fight.
Yep.
Just walking forward, bloody, kicking.
You could tell he wanted every bit of his being wanted that.
Yeah, as hard as he was. Funny story. I may have told you this on the last pod, but when I had met Henry Cejudo and his coach in Amsterdam and got to train with them, later on, his coach hit me up and said, "Hey, I have a fighter fighting on the Boston card. I know you're from Boston. I'm not going to be able to make it out there. Would you be able to corner him? It's his UFC. It's a UFC fight. I don't remember if it was debut or not, but he said he's fighting the UFC." I was like, "Oh, great." He said he's fighting Dustin Ortiz. He's a good fighter. Can you look him up and do like a study on him? Send me stuff. I said, yeah, sure. I would be happy to do that. Happy to corner him. That fighter was Alexander Pantoja. Now, as the weeks got up to the fight, I was preparing, going back and forth with Eric, his coach, Eric Albarracin, and it turns out like a week and a half before the fight, he hit me up and was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry, but Alex does not want you to corner him in the fight." I was like, "What? Why, dude? I did all this work. I did all this study.
You're all excited.
I did a breakdown. Yeah, I was wicked excited. I was like telling my coach, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to the UFC and corner this guy," and he's like, "Yeah, he just doesn't know you." I was like, yeah, dude, duh. You said that." He's like, yeah, he doesn't trust me like that. I'm his boy, but I thought it'd be cool. It's not. So sorry." I was like, "Oh well, take care."
I don't
He's
blame
like, "Yeah,
him though.
bro."
I mean, that's got to be
Of
tough.
I don't blame him at all, of course. Why the fuck would he want to do
You gotta
that?
have like somewhat of a chemistry. I feel like
I would never have some random dude I don't know come to the UFC corner me on my UFC debut.
he just doesn't know you. That's like a healthy no. Like
what? How about this? I watched the fight and he lost to Dustin Ortiz. That was his like last loss, and I was like, well, if he had me in his corner."
you can always say that if you were the missing piece.
In the next fight, he beat Brandon Moreno, so I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, for sure. He's a beast. I'm taking Alexander Pantoja.
Yeah, no question for
Savage.
me. Alexander Pantoja. He's way more experienced.
He's got crazy heart.
Crazy heart as well.
All right, bro. Drum roll, please, because this is Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington, bro.
Fight of the night. Let's see.
So much wonder here.
Again with
much
the
to
MMA
ponder.
math.
MMA
Now,
math.
Kobe's been out a while. Okay.
Mhm.
He's coming off 2 losses to Kamaru Usman, 1 loss to Jorge Masvidal outside of the cage.
Outside the cage.
Allegedly. Allegedly. Now he beat Jorge Masvidal's ass in the cage.
I just rewatched that fight.
Yeah, he worked him. Kobe's a great fighter. He has good cardio. Um, People don't like the way he talks because he tried this persona that he thought was going to resonate or at least piss people off to a point. It just pissed people off, and he became the ultra heel, but not in a good way. Leon Edwards is kind of like the dark horse of this division, or was at least until he beat Kamaru twice to become the champion.
Which is insane.
Insane. No one thought he was going to beat him the second time because he got worked the first fight until he knocked him out with a head kick. Second fight, he solidified his championship title and beat him. If you're doing MMA math, Leon Edwards is coming off 2 back-to-back wins off Kamaru Usman, the former champion. Kobe Covington is coming off 2 back-to-back losses. Back-to-back, 2 back-to-back losses shows it kind of shows it was not a fluke one way or the other. It kind of shows a definitive where you stand against someone, as well as 2 back-to-back wins. It just shows when you fight someone twice. If you look at their careers, who has Kobe Covington really fought? Who has Leon Edwards really fought? They've both fought top competition, but Leon Edwards has proven himself as a well-rounded fighter in the sense that he was doubted and he had the skill, and he hasn't shown any holes in his game. He hasn't really lost other than another outside of the ring or outside of the cage endeavor with Jorge Masvidal. So
The only
when you're
places
looking at,
Jorge can win.
I know, is outside of the cage. That's funny. If you're looking at objectively and you're not just looking at like which dude you think is a loser, um, it's it's a decently even fight, but if you look at, so in terms of on paper, it should be Leon Edwards. If you look at in terms of consistency, it's going to be for me Kobe Covington because he's so consistent with his performances. Leon Edwards is great, but you see him against a guy like I feel like there are points where he lulls, like he'll
Yeah.
fall asleep in matches and then he'll turn up, he'll come back. Um, Against Nate Diaz, he was like winning the whole fight, this and that. He fell asleep at the end, and he almost got knocked out. Kamaru Usman, first one, he was getting worked the whole fight, and then came alive at the end. So it's like you don't get a spectacular performance the whole way through, but you get a solid performance. He's solid everywhere. But I don't know if against Colby Covington, that is enough. Looking at their records, they both have top fighters they've beaten. They've beaten some of the same guys. Leon Edwards beat Vicente Luque. He beat Brian Barberena, Cerrone, Rafael dos Anjos, and then Kamaru Usman, Nate Diaz. Um, when you're looking at Kobe Covington, he's beaten Rafael dos Anjos. He beat Damian Maya. He beat Jorge Masvidal. Now, one thing to note is that Bilal Muhammad, who I think is a better fighter than both of them, Leon Edwards had a no contest with Bilal Muhammad. It was an accidental eye poke, but he kind of looked like he was having the better of Bilal Muhammad in that fight, in my opinion. So that's telling.
So has Kobe fought anyone who has good head kicks?
Rafael dos Anjos, he has good head kicks.
Because I feel like that's where I worry. Where Kobe will have to be good with the head kicks.
So Colby is a guy who, until he did this persona, he almost got cut from the UFC. He just wasn't entertaining with his fight style enough because he just does the same thing. He's gonna press you against the cage. He's gonna throw weak ass strikes to press you there, and then just keep them up at like 20% power the whole time, the whole time, the whole time. The guys that he's really beaten are guys that are on their way out ish. They're big names, But I mean, so he beat Brian Barberena. He beat Rafael dos Anjos, which is a good fight. That was a good one. He did that. Props to him. Damian Maya. He beat Dong Hyun Kim. Robbie Lawler, who's kind of old on his way out type of deal.
What about the Tyron Woodley fight?
I never felt that Tyron Woodley
Wasn't
skill for
strong then.
skill. He's a specimen. He's great, but he gives up in fights.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, he really does. So if we're going apples to apples on this Kobe Covington, Leon Edwards, and I have to make a pick, I'm gonna put my money on Leon Edwards. Stay the champion.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's the favorite too.
He is the favorite.
That
could change coming up to the fight.
I don't see. This is my problem. Kobe's like super good. I don't feel like he's a good finisher. Like
I agree.
I don't.
He doesn't finish guys so much.
He doesn't get that gruesome ground and pound. I mean, against Jorge Masvidal, he was doing good ground and pound, but he wasn't doing like the savage finish him type of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
stuff that makes you scared of it.
I think if he gets Leon down, it's like pummeling ground and pound. It's not like game-ending ground and pound. And then Kobe like lands really good combos, but doesn't drop anybody. You know?
Yeah. I mean, Kobe in his own right has a pretty decent head kick, but like you said, it's not strong. It's not like a dangerous head kick.
It's almost like he point fights, like he's like tagging.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right.
Why is that? Are his hips too square? Like, is he too wrestling based, or is he like?
I think he throws the right amount of power on his strikes that allows him to be able to keep that pace for the allotted time of 5 rounds. He fights 5 rounds.
That's a good
all the time. So he kind of knows, like, if I throw any more than this, my arms are going to get tired because I have to wrestle. I have to do it. So he throws like the right amount for him to keep, because he's a volume fighter. He is never not in your face. And that's something that's going to see. There's variables to this. Kobe is a very in your face fighter like that. If Leon Edwards' cardio is not up to par where he can handle someone who's as in your face as Kobe is, because Kamaru Usman, as good as he is not an in your face type of fighter like Kobe. Kobe was doing that to Kamaru. That could be a big factor, but I feel that Leon Edwards has great cardio enough to handle it. Now, another huge factor is that Leon Edwards is an active fighter. He competes often. If you look at Kobe Covington, he really fights like once a year, once every 8 months, once every 6, 7 months, but not really 6. Like he takes a lot of time in between fights, and he's been out for a year, so he hasn't fought. Whereas Leon Edwards just fought. He's out of training camps, fresh. He's in shape. That could be a huge factor.
I wonder if he settled the lawsuit just so he could take this fight. I wonder if like because what's his face got away. I think they dropped the lawsuit, and I think that I wonder if maybe he dropped the lawsuit just so he could take the championship fight. It's kind of hard to fight in court that you have brain damage when you're taking another fight, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know so much about that. I know that Jorge Masvidal is cleaning up with his promotion too, so I know that Kobe Covington has eyes on that.
What do you mean?
Jorge Masvidal has Gamebred FC, the
Bare knuckle MMA.
Oh, I think he sees the money that Jorge is making when he's being successful, and he's like, "Yo, whatever you make on that, I know you did this to me. I'm taking whatever."
So I see. Yeah, I got
he's
you.
Got his eyes on it. Yeah, maybe he dropped the lawsuit in that sense, like for criminal charges, but maybe he's not dropped it for damages.
It's hard to say that someone that Kamaru Usman couldn't beat twice is like gonna lose to someone that Kamaru Usman also beat. You know what I mean?
Twice. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just a factor. It's like I would like to see Kobe. I think it'd be a cool story. The dude almost was getting dropped from the UFC, decided to put on this character, fucking, became.
It would be epic,
super relevant. What's that?
If Kobe won and then doubled down on the character, and he was the champion, and just, oh my god, I think that would be epic.
Like held it down.
Yeah, held it down and doubled down. Like just walked around everywhere with the belt, the MAGA hat, The attitude, the fake suits, the strippers with the asses. If he doubled down on it and we had a UFC champion like that, it would be hilarious.
Turn it into WWE real quick.
Yeah, I think people would appreciate that to some extent. Give people a little entertainment because skill for skill, yeah, you have Leon Edwards. People can appreciate his skill as a champion. He has his due. But really, what entertainment do you get from Leon Edwards? Take Leon Edwards out of that spot, put any other good fighter in that spot, put the belt on it, and you're happy. You're okay.
If
Yeah,
it
he's a good fighter.
if it wasn't for Leon Edwards' like speech, like when he got the belt from Usman,
Yeah.
that was like cool. That was like an epic, like, oh fuck, man, you're bringing a tear to my eye, bro. You made it. You did it,
Yeah.
bro. I'm
Just
rooting for
talking
you.
about Jamaica. Yeah.
But other than that, like, yes, I agree. I haven't seen very much from him that I'm like, all right.
Nothing. I want to
So
see him in a Nike ad. I want to see him. I want to see him doing that. I want to see his face on TV. I want to see him on talk shows. I
yeah,
want to see him. That's what people want from a champion. They want to see him. They want content. I feel like if Kobe Covington becomes champion, he can provide that for a lot of people. He can obviously it would be better for the company. They would make more money off a Kobe Covington champion than a Leon Edwards champion. I think it would be probably better for the sport, not in terms of him being a jackass as a champion, but in terms of getting eyes on it and getting people talking about it more. The welterweight division, who's gonna beat Kobe Covington? Who's gonna beat this douchebag? You know?
full on conspiracy, full on conspiracy guess. I'm gonna say Kobe grinds it out 5 rounds. The UFC judges decide to give it to Kobe because he's way more marketable. That's like we see all so fucking often in the UFC. Controversial win, so they can get the rematch. The other guy's way more marketable. That's my whole conspiracy thought. But off the dome, I kind of feel like Kobe can't finish Leon, and Leon's got some dangerous tricks that might starch Kobe. But that's weird. That sucks. I'm playing both sides of the field here. I can't.
I know. You like Coke and Pepsi, bro.
Yeah, right. I'm walking in circles right now. I got whoever I pick is gonna lose. So who'd you pick?
Leon.
You picked Leon.
Yes, sir.
My heart tells me Leon,
Go with your heart, bro.
but my conspiracy says Kobe.
Yeah. Hey, I don't hate that conspiracy.
It just seems to happen so much in the UFC.
Follow the money, man. If you follow the money, you see where everything goes.
It's like, what? The marketable guy wins?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna my final down is gonna be on Leon Edwards on this one.
Okay.
Dude, I did not expect to do the whole card. I just like, I'm glad we did it, but we had to just because the whole card from prelims to early prelims was stacked.
Well, now you're stuck to it. Now you can see how good of a MMA analyst you are.
Yeah, you're gonna do better than Donald. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It was like 0 for like 6 or 7.
Oh yeah. What card did you guys do?
Oh, what one did we do? We did whatever the last big one was.
Okay.
I've been doing all the big ones. Let me look.
Islam Volk.
Yes.
Yeah. That's an interesting one too. Kind of had Islam in that one though. Islam. I think even, and I know this is extra for your fans. Islam and Armin Sarukian in the lightweight division. That's going to be the next fight, I believe, for the title. I think Islam's still going to wax him, bro.
I'm sorry. The big one we did was the last one we did Yuri Prohaska, Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall. We did that whole one.
Beautiful fight, yeah. Tom
with Mackenzie Dern on it.
Ooh, okay, Dern.
Sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying?
Oh no, yeah, I was just talking about how great Islam Makhachev is. I think he's going to beat Armin Sarukian when they fight.
I want to see him fight Conor.
Oh, he kills Conor. Easily. He smashes Conor.
Just destroys him.
Destroys him.
And the Khabib can take on Dylan.
Oh, dude.
What if Dana White let Dylan Dennis fight and it had to be Khabib?
He'd get killed. He'd literally get killed. Like you saw what Logan Paul did to him?
Yeah.
He's trash.
Well, I didn't even watch it. I didn't.
Oh,
I'm not.
Bro, he's ass.
I'm sorry. I'm not buying into that shit. I'm so over the YouTube boxer. I can't do it, dude. I just whatever. Jake Paul has slowly gotten better and more technical looking as a boxer. I'll give him that much. But like as far as like Logan Paul and that whole like, it was just like such a clown shit show. I was just like, I have no interest in this shit. That was just me personally hating, just over here hating, sipping the haterade.
Are you still?
I'm just not like a fan of Logan Paul. I think anything that guy touches is kind of like a borderline scam or is a scam. And I just feel like there's been times where I'm like, oh, Logan Paul's cool. Seems like a good dude. And then I see things that he's involved in are just like very like pyramid schemey type of like.
Everything's a money grab.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like everything about that guy, like Prime isn't like, it's bullshit. You know, if you really look at the ingredients in it and stuff like that. And he's out here just like whack marketing to people. It's just, I don't know, sipping the
But
hater.
that's the thing is like I mean,
That's
like
what,
we were saying, follow the money. That's where everything goes. People, he can have the worst drinks in the world, but he's just throwing money, 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 and people will, oh, it's in front of our eyes, it's in front of our eyes, prime, prime, it's here, it's there, it's there. Oh, I don't care if it's bad, it's good.
right. Yeah. And it's
You know?
insane that guy can just come up with that. I mean, good for him. Good for him. But I don't buy into that shit. I've
Yeah,
watched More Plates, More Dates and CoffeeZilla, and I'm on their team when they've analyzed them boys.
sure.
I don't like it. I'm not gonna like go out of my way to avoid them, but I'm like, what am I gonna watch? Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis, dude? Like, come on. Like,
It's I mean, it's a
I
joke.
saw
It's
I,
obviously going to be like a scam type of fight. Yeah.
I
But
saw
they make
clips of
money.
like Logan Paul like throwing punches, and that dude needs to learn how to plant his feet a little bit better. I feel like a little bit of. I'm sorry.
He's not a boxer. He
he
knows it too.
he plants his feet and does the washing machine with his hands out. You know what I mean? Like throwing hooks like that rather than turning his body. And, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. He literally boxes like someone who just learned how to box like a year or two ago.
Yes,
Who's done it like as a hobbyist. He has.
Jake Paul's putting in the work. He's getting better.
Yeah, he looks good.
I give him props on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, he looks good. He's definitely working
I'm
hard
I'm
and he's
actually
showing
gaining
himself.
respect for him. Building up the PFL, trying to get fighters paid, fighting Nate Diaz, and then at the end telling him like he'll fight him in MMA. Like if he follows through with that shit, bro, that's cool. I think I got respect for that. Like that means he kept his word. He came in with no respect. He kept going. He showed heart. He puts in the work. It's not an easy sport to learn and get, you know, it's not even easy to walk out to the ring, let alone like against people who actually do fight. I get the marketing aspect. If he holds true to like what he says, trying to make a league and a thing for people to get paid, hey, dude, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm all for what's best for the people. And he's trying, at least trying to do it.
Yeah.
So
Well, dude, I do appreciate this. That was awesome.
of course.
Congrats on
Thank
your
you for
gym.
having me. Thank you.
Unity MMA, right? You want to
Yes, sir.
plug anything for
Unity.
the local listeners?
Of course, of course. I'm always plugging. Unity MMA, 11141 US Highway 19 North in Clearwater, Florida. Stop by for a free class. Me, Zach Allen. We've got a bunch of great yoga teachers teaching. We'll have a time. Come
I'll be
by.
in there. I'll be stopping
Yes,
by for
sir.
sure.
Hell yeah.
Well, hey man, appreciate it again. And next time we'll do this. We'll do this for the next big event. Maybe we'll get one of your boys in here.
Let's do it.
Give him the heads up. Have a
I'm
good night, brother.
excited. All right, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
I think the podcast is fucking sick. If you're listening to it and you're like, I don't know if I want to listen to the next episode of this podcast, you're probably a bitch ass. You need to listen to the next episode of this podcast and keep listening to it. Because my friends down here are trying to make shit happen. And we're going to make some shit happen.